Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Cincinnati, and welcome to the beautiful Hall of Mirrors. We've got a great program for you today. We're going to be celebrating excellence in public education with Teacher Appreciation Day. My name is Steve King, and I'm standing in for President Melinda Kelly. President Melinda Kelly is feeling under the weather. She called me last night, and she said, "Hey, Steve, can you stand in for me today and pick up the gavel?" I said, "Of course, Melinda, no problem. Just get well soon." And when I hung up the phone, it occurred to me that she might be pulling a Ferris Bueller on me. She might be doing a senior skip day. So, I thought I'd talk to some of our awardees today to see if they might be able to give me some tips on detective work and let me know if there's an app on your phone that can make your voice sound really scratchy. But we are going to start the program today with our national anthem, led by John Farmeyer, followed up by our four-way test and invocation with Kelly Collison. John?
Our flag up there. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Nice buried bass vote.
Perfect key, John.
Perfect. Did it load?
Teachers make a lasting difference for generations to come. Most likely, you are able to look back with fondness for a particular teacher who encouraged you to dream big and to help you hone a specific skill. The very least we can do is offer our support, respect, and prayers as they would remain strong on their journey. As we celebrate Teacher Appreciation Day here at Club 17, let's take a moment to lift up our kids' teachers, our grandchild's teachers, the teachers who are our parents, our children, our brothers and sisters and spouses. Will you bow your head and join in prayer? Grant our teachers an abundance of your wisdom. Prepare their hearts to welcome and love our loved ones, and may we make sure to show them love and respect in return. Give them grace as they help students who aren't thriving, courage to say what needs to be said, tools and knowledge on how and when to speak love, and strength when they feel weak. When they feel unseen, remind them that there are no moments that go unnoticed, that they are shaping the future in 1,000,000 incredibly important ways each and every day. Teaching is a thankless profession, yet our teachers remain steadfast in the mission of education. Keep them safe from harm and the unknown risks they face daily. We're overwhelmed with gratitude for the gift of learning that they share with our children. Bless them, and may they see even just a glimpse of how their faithfulness will forever impact generations to come. We thank you for their passion for learning, because after all, teaching is the one profession that creates all other professions. Amen.
Amen.
And may we be reminded of all things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial for all concerned?
You may be seated. Kelly, thank you for those thoughts. John, perfect key for the national anthem. Thank you. Next, I'd like to welcome to the podium our Sergeant-at-Arms, Rob Hageman, to welcome our guests and visiting Rotarians, followed by our meeting sponsor, Rhonda Stargill, from the Girl Scouts of Western Ohio. Rob?
Thank you, Steve. By the way, to echo what Steve just said, that was fantastic, Kelly. Very, very well said. To welcome our guests today, we have Allison Fristow with Federal Home Loan Bank, who is a guest of Rotarian Jim Nyhard. If you would, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. We have Beth Schick with Gamble Monastery Elementary, also a guest of Rotarian Jim Nyhard. And then Chris Clements with Imago, the last guest of Jim Nyhard. We have Lori Heiners, who is a guest of absentee President Melinda Kelly. So if you would please stand. And Melissa Ridley with Gamble Monastery Elementary as well. Melissa is a guest of Jody Devoid. And then our last guest, who is going to transition right into being our presenter, Rhonda Stargill, who is a visiting Rotarian from Dayton and also with the Girl Scouts.
Hello, my name is Rhonda Stargill. I'm the Chief Development and Marketing Officer with Girl Scouts of Western Ohio, and I'm so happy to be here. I'm proud to be part of the Girl Scout movement and part of the Girl Scouts of Western Ohio Council. Our council is the 6th largest council in the nation, and we serve nearly 30,000 girls from Cincinnati to Toledo. I'm even prouder to be here with our Gold Award Girl Scouts, so I'm going to ask Sarah and Maddie to stand. These girls have reached the pinnacle in the Girl Scout experience by demonstrating extraordinary leadership and developing sustainable solutions to local, national, and global challenges. Ask them about their projects. You will be amazed. They're here with their parents, Heather Summers and Karen Mansfield. Girl Scouts prepares every girl to practice a lifetime of leadership and service. These are our future business leaders, our future community and civic leaders like all of you in this room. I invite you to learn more about Girl Scouts by visiting our website or following us on social media, and thank you for having us here today, and thank you for the brand setters for working with us on this sponsorship. Thanks.
Rhonda, thank you very much for sponsoring this meeting today and bringing your Gold Award winners. I loved looking and talking to learning about their projects and meeting your award winners. And thank you to the Girl Scouts of Western Ohio for being a corporate member of this club. Next, I'd like to welcome Michael Vallardo to the podium to introduce a special guest, the new Superintendent of Cincinnati Public Schools. Michael?
Thank you. We're privileged really to have the new superintendent with us this afternoon. She has a 1 o'clock meeting, and we wanted to squeeze in an introduction of her to this group. She was willing to come in and take a few moments and speak to you, just greet you. So I won't spend a lot of time introducing her to you. She just started on May 2nd, and so you know she hit the ground running, and she's been very, very busy. But Iranetta Wright is the 28th superintendent of the Cincinnati Public Schools. She was most recently the deputy superintendent of schools in Detroit Public Schools Community District. It serves 53,000 students and 7,200 employees. She's a Florida native, served Duval County Public Schools for over 25 years as teacher, assistant principal, middle and high school principal, regional superintendent, and ultimately in the role of chief of schools, serving 117,000 students, and 13,000 employees. We're privileged to have Superintendent Wright here. There are other things I could say about her, but I want you to hear from her. So let's give Superintendent Wright a Cincinnati Rotary welcome, if you will, please.
Thank you. And I do apologize in advance for not being able to stay for the entire program today, but when I was invited to come, I did share that I had a previous engagement, but if you wanted me to come and I could only stay for a few minutes, I'll still come. And they graciously said yes. So good afternoon to each of you. Oh, I know you can say good afternoon. Good afternoon to each of you. Okay, all right. So as was already shared, my name is Iranetta Wright. I am a Jacksonville native. I spent my entire life in Jacksonville, Florida. And about 5 years ago, my then superintendent became the superintendent in Detroit and recruited me from Jacksonville to transition to Detroit. I heard him say at one time, because I was so challenged and so intrigued by really impacting change for children, that he knew that he could recruit me from Jacksonville because I would not be able to say no. As we know, Detroit was one of the most challenged and has been one of the most challenged school districts in the country. And so to have the opportunity to go there and really make sure that we had positive outcomes for children was something that spoke to me. So I come to you after 5 years in Detroit, and I stand proudly as the superintendent of Cincinnati Public Schools. But before a superintendent and before a principal, I am a teacher. And I would like to make sure that today we recognize again, by round of applause, all of our educators. Let's give them a round of applause. My entire life, I was destined to teach, from teaching my sister to teaching my dolls to teaching Sunday school at the age of 12. I was always a teacher. I share often because it's just such a part of who I am as an individual. I was raised by my grandfather. He was my minister and my pastor my entire life. And we would always talk about the fact that I was a teacher. And I was getting ready to graduate from high school, and I was having a conversation with him. He was born in 1918, by the way. I was having a conversation with him, and he said, okay, so you're getting ready to graduate, and you're going to school, and you're going to be a teacher, right? And I said, no, Dad, I don't think I'm going to teach now. I am going to go into law because I want to, have a nice, flashy title. I want to travel. I want to make lots of money. And he said to me, and if you've seen my video that I shared, this is so powerful to me, and I share it often. But he said to me, whatever you choose to do, I'll support you. But know, if you do what you love, you will never work a day in your life. And like kids do, I still went to college, and I was a pre-law major once I got there. I did that for about a year, and education called me back. And so after that year, I transitioned back to an education major. He was actually deceased by then, so he did not get an opportunity to see that. But what I do know is that he knew that I would be able to do wonderful things in the world of education. So I tried again to leave education. I started teaching, and I thought I'm going to try it one more time to leave education. And I left for a year. I'd start doing Mary Kay Cosmetics. Yeah, Mary Kay. I know some people know Mary Kay, right? I drove a pink car in Mary Kay. If you're going to do it, you have to do it, right? And I couldn't stay away. So I'm having, at that time, my grandfather was deceased by then, but my grandmother was still with me. And I come in one day, and she said, something's not right with you today. What's going on? I said, I miss the kids. And she said, you know what you need to do, don't you? I said, I do. And the next day I went back to the school system, and this is where I've been ever since. So April of this coming year will be 30 years that I've been in public education. I started when I was 12, in case anybody wants to know that. I started when I was 12. People have often asked since I've been here, like, what are your plans for CPS? I know the excellence that exists in this community, and I know the excellence that exists in our children. And my plans for CPS is pretty simple: to make sure that we are the world-class organization that our children are destined to be. And that cannot happen without the support of everyone in this room. So for being an education supporter, a public education supporter, give yourselves a round of applause as well. We can clap a little bit louder than that. We can clap a little bit louder than that. Yes. Since May 2nd, we have 65 schools in CPS, 66 with one of our special programs. And since May 2nd, it's been very easy to determine my priorities, because since May 2nd, I have visited 40 of our school buildings. That was from May 2nd, actually since through last Thursday, so I lost some time this week. 40 schools. Out of 20 days, we've had 19 days of engagement sessions. So we've engaged with every facet of the community. I have individuals here today that have been a part of those engagement sessions. And what we're doing during that time is listening and learning. I have amazing experience. I've done some really good work. I've worked with wonderful people, built excellent relationships, ensured that we've had positive outcomes for children. But what I know is no community is exactly the same, and there is no such thing as cookie cutter. So it's important to hear the experiences that are already occurring. It's important to learn what's going really, really well, what's going not so well, and then from there, we plan and move forward. So I thank you today for having me, for giving me the opportunity to just speak with you and to greet you for just a few moments. They said I could open it up for questions. Do we still have time to do that? And I have a whole 6 minutes. I'm doing it. My assistant just sent me a message and said, okay, I'm outside. You have 6 minutes. So I have 6 minutes. And you don't want to make the people upset that are making sure that you make everywhere on time. So he does a great job of that. So again, I want to share, I want to just say thank you, and thank you for your support of our educators. Let's give another round of applause to our honorees today. 2 of them I've already had the opportunity in the last 20 days to work with already, and to see just the commitment that they have to our children, the way that they work tirelessly for our children. The other 2 I met today, but look forward to continuing to work with them. So I took 1 more minute there, so now I have 5 minutes. So I'll open up for questions if there are questions for me. Yes. I don't know that I had any surprises, honestly, in visiting the 40 schools. But what it did for me is, prior to coming, and I have one of my team members that I've been interfacing with, I was actually voted on February the 28th, and I started working on March the 1st. Nobody asked me about a contract or any of that, but I started working on March the 1st. And essentially, that was virtually, and I was interfacing with the team. And I did that for the 2-month period before I actually came. So what happened is I had a really good context of the schools before I came by talking to all of the principals, by talking to all of our cabinet leaders. However, visiting the schools moved the context from this is what you told me to this is what I see. And it's done several things. One, the engagement and the re-engagement from the community, from teachers, the excitement of just knowing that we're in the school buildings and we're talking to students, asking questions, asking what's going well, asking what needs to happen. And if there's anything that, I don't think I had any surprises. I applaud the work that Cincinnati Public Schools has already done. We've really done some great things in the district. We have some wonderful initiatives. Some initiatives that we need to streamline a bit, but we've really focused on doing what's right for children. And so I want to make sure that as we're taking all of the feedback that we're receiving, we're processing that feedback so that we take the first part of the time to listen and learn, and then begin to implement a plan for leadership. Yes? Have I had any pleasant surprises now that I have a lot of pleasant surprises. One of the things that, and I traveled back and forth to Cincinnati several times. My cousin worked at University of Kentucky for a period of time. I have one cousin. I have cousins all over the country, right? When you have a grandfather that's the oldest of 12, you have family everywhere. But I have more relatives in Cleveland than I do in Cincinnati. I have one cousin that's in Cincinnati. So I was traveling here pretty often. Now living here, one of the things that I really have enjoyed is all of the focus on the parks, the green space, and being able to go into the parks. A couple of Sundays ago, I went over to Storm Park and just looked over at the city from that area. I live close to Inwood. I like to run, so that's a location where I run. So I'm telling where I live, but I'll never answer the question at all about Skyline Chili. So no one needs to raise their hand and ask me that. Skyline Gold Star, no need to ask that question. Yes? What attracted me to being a superintendent or the superintendent in CPS? So I will share with you that Cincinnati Public Schools was my first choice school district for a variety of reasons. I decided that I wanted to be a superintendent, and I knew it was time for me to go ahead and say, okay, I'm going to apply. So my superintendent and I had a discussion, and we worked together for a period of time. Okay, I have one more minute. We worked together for a period of time, and so we had a discussion, and he said, okay, Iranetta, it's probably time. And I was like, yep, it's time, but I am not going to apply until I find the perfect spot for me. And then I saw Cincinnati. I saw when former Superintendent Mitchell decided that she was transitioning out. It was important to me to be in a community that had already had an experience with a Black female superintendent because going into a district, I knew that it was important that I did not have the time or the space to deal with that part of the transition because that's really important. The city, what my experience is, I come from Duval County where I was the chief of schools. I had 165 schools and 117,000 students. I then transitioned to Detroit with 106 schools and 49,000 students when I got there and 53,000 students when I left. When I was an assistant superintendent of the transformation region, I had 56 schools by myself. Just me as the assistant superintendent. So the size of the district was one that would allow me to engage the way that I like to engage with schools. Thinking about 65 schools, I could touch every school building consistently. I could get to know not just the principals in the building, but get to know teachers, interact with students, and that was really important to me. Ultimately, what was the final thing that said this is the place was when I looked at the data for the district. And when I looked at the data, I saw pockets of excellence in the data. And I saw areas that really needed improvement. And that was work that I not only knew, but I had done and I had replicated in more than one place. So I knew that I could come to this community with my experiences, with the passion for the work with the community, work with our teachers, work with all of our unions, work with the students and parents, and impact change. And that's exactly what we'll do. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Superintendent Wright, thank you very much for coming today and for sharing your dedication and enthusiasm for improving our Cincinnati Public Schools. Just to get back on the schedule, we're going to switch gears just a little bit before we transition to the award segment of our presentation and program today. Next up, I'd like to welcome Mike LaValle to the podium for another segment in our series on the 100th anniversary of our very own Camp Allen. Mike, welcome.
Thank you, President-elect Steve, and good afternoon, everyone. If you'll recall, for those of you who have been following, a couple weeks ago, I left off in 1950, which was the year that our foundation essentially was born because a group of lawyers drew up a document that put the Rotary Camp Foundation in place so that the camp was now in a foundation. And that is what became eventually became our foundation. So that was 1950. So moving forward from there. And I'm gonna jump through these. I'm gonna read my stuff here first, because this time the pictures aren't well coordinated with what I'm saying. So I'll comment on the pictures in a minute here. So in 1954, there was a Rotarian, Bill Baker, who passed away, and he always had a special place in his heart for the handicapped. And he left Camp Allen $16,000 in securities. Now, in 1954, today, that's $172,000 that he left to Camp Allen. And this is the first time that I saw this and all this history. In 1958, in that year, we had 29 campers from Condon School. It says 37 heart cases, whatever that really means. We had 93 from Hamilton County and 30 from Kentucky. But then here's the important part, and the first time I saw this. Then they let 40 of the mentally handicapped children use it for 1 week for free. So 1958 was the first time that I saw that the mentally handicapped, at least as they called them then, went to camp. Before that, it was always disabled, polio, which is how the camp was formed. So from there, it has certainly taken great strides in that point from there. 1959, Camp Allen was the scene of many activities, and directing these was the foundation president, Mert Natorp. Now, some of us older folks may remember Mert, but that's the Natorp of Natorps. And this was the year that the swimming activities were transferred from the lake, which we've seen pictures of in the past few weeks, to the new, as they called it, Super Deluxe swimming pool, which Rotary financed. And that summer, we entertained 164 crippled children during a 4-week period, in addition to a 2-week camp for the mentally retarded children. So I'm going to stop there, but then I'm going to go through these pictures, because I say they weren't well coordinated with what was going on then. But I thought it was interesting, just coming off of the Memorial Day weekend, that I've gone through this history. This is doing this again. I don't know why, Christy. Back up. This was, like most of us probably that went to camp, this was a ritual every morning. The campers would raise the flag, and then they would go to breakfast and do activities and lunch. And this was another one I thought, what a great Memorial Day weekend. You're just sitting by the lake, fishing pole in the water, leaning up against a tree, having a good time, and not worrying about anything, because you're at Camp Allen. And certainly archery was as much of an activity back then as it still is today. And here's the only picture I could really find of that Super Deluxe swimming pool, which was from outside the fence. You can see a wheelchair up against the fence on the other side. You can see some crutches leaning against it. Up above the gentleman in the foreground, it's kind of hard to see. There's a leg brace hanging up there from the fence. So that was our Super Deluxe swimming pool. It was handicap accessible and was on the old side of the camp. It's not where the swimming pool is today that most of you might know. So I'm going to stop there. That's our Camp Allen Minute, leaving off in 1960. So next couple weeks, we'll take off from there. Thank you.
Mike O'Valley, thank you for your research and for the pictures. It's definitely a great series on our tremendous dedication over the last 100 years for our Camp Allen. Next, we have some announcements. Birthdays. Please wish a happy birthday to those members celebrating birthdays this week. We are moving to celebrating those birthdays with a slide. Cue the slide to save some podium time. When you see the slide, you can wish those Rotarians a very happy birthday. It's okay. There's no rush. We're wishing you all a happy birthday right now, and we will move to split the pot. This is why you all showed up today, I understand. Dr. Brown, would you do me the honor of picking a winner, make one friend and 70 enemies? So the Split the Pot is a fundraiser to support club membership activities. 25% of the pot goes to the winner of this ticket. It is, the last four digits is 3361. All right, thank you, Don. Today's winner receives $33, and now the opportunity for the rolling pot, which is $1,811. Hey, hot diggity! Well, so Jonathan Brown, his name is Don Keller. He just won $1,800 thanks to your draw. So, congratulations, John. Melinda's going to be sad she missed this. Now, the Girl Scouts of Western Ohio were gracious enough to donate 5 boxes of Girl Scout cookies for an additional winning draw. So maybe Kelly, would you do me the honor? 5 tickets. All right, we're going to do 5 tickets. 2, 3, 4. Actually, that's 5. I see 5. All right. Last 4 digits, 2774. 2729. 2730. That's right next to the other one, right? 2729 and 2730, which might be you, Janet, as well. 2730. 3565. And 3577. Hey, all right, John. Thank you, Girl Scouts of Western Ohio. Spreading cheer, the one cookie at a time. Rotary International Convention 2022. The Rotary office is going to be closed Monday through Wednesday next week so that our office staff can attend the Rotary International Convention in Houston. There are 70 breakout sessions. 70 breakout sessions. So many sessions. If you need to reach the staff, they're probably in a breakout session. So please send them an email. Membership dues, club invoices for July 1st through December 31st were sent out last month. Payments or payment arrangements are due by June 17th. If you did not receive your dues invoice, please contact the Rotary office right away. Family of Rotary, please keep Rotarian Ed Atchison in your thoughts and prayers as he mourns the loss of his father, Edwin Atchison. Ed's father passed away just 2 months shy of his 97th birthday. Meetings today at 1:30, classification meeting in the Julep Room on the 3rd floor, Rotary Due Days Committee, the Boardroom 4 on the mezzanine, and Membership Development Committee, Boardroom 3 on the mezzanine. One final announcement, next week the meeting is not at the Hilton and at noon. It is a breakfast meeting at the Kenwood Country Club. Do not come to this Hilton at noon because there'll be no meeting and no one here to tell you where the meeting is. It's a breakfast meeting at the Kenwood Country Club, and the speaker will be Tony Shipley from Queen City Angels. It's not on my notes. Probably 8 a.m. I'm going to be in a breakout session, so I don't know. Let's see. Without any further ado, let me welcome back Michael Vallardo to the podium to introduce our program. Thank you, Michael.
Well, it was certainly a privilege to have the superintendent with us this afternoon, and so glad that she could spend a few moments with us, and she promised that she'd come back and greet you and spend some time with us. What she didn't share was she was part of a Rotary Club in one of the communities where she lived, very involved with it, and so I think she knew the four-way test and everything that had to go along with that. To present the awards, though, because the superintendent had to leave, we have Dr. Jonathan Brown with us today. He is the interim assistant superintendent right now. And you have to admit, folks, we've done much better this year. You remember last year? We had an empty table up front because they thought I was inviting the awardees. We thought they were inviting the awardees, and all of the awardees stayed home. So we're glad. We're glad you all are here. We won't do that one again. Let me tell you about Jonathan Dale Brown. He's a native of Cincinnati, Ohio, graduate from the College of Mount St. Joseph, Bachelor of Arts degree in elementary education in 1990. In May 1995, he earned a Master's of Education degree, and in 2002, a Doctor of Education degree from the University of Cincinnati. Dr. Brown is blessed to have an illustrious professional career in the field of education. He served as a teacher in Cincinnati Public School District, elementary school principal at Winton Woods School District, director of curriculum and instruction, associate superintendent at Baltimore, Maryland, adjunct professor at Morgan State University, director of equity, cultural proficiency, and community engagement at Hartford County Public School District, and executive director of principal accountability in the Baltimore City Public Schools, served as an adjunct professor at the University of Cincinnati. We're glad you made your way back here. You've been quite around. As an elementary principal at William Howard Taft's STEM Elementary School within Cincinnati Public Schools, Dr. Brown assumed leadership in August 2014, and he inherited a low-performing school. Working collaboratively with staff and community members, William Howard Taft's STEM Elementary School currently has 100% of third graders scoring proficient or accelerated on the Ohio 2018 Math Air Assessment. 100%. 97% of third graders scoring proficient or accredited on the Ohio 2018 Reading Error Assessment, and the only school within school district to receive an A on the Ohio Report Card for at-risk K-3 readers. Presently, he is serving as the interim assistant superintendent of Cincinnati Public Schools. And in his current role, he supervises curriculum and instruction, early childhood education, career, technical education, college and career readiness, and director of school leaders. Dr. Brown, welcome today. You obviously are an accomplished educator yourself. I can think, schools have been in the news a lot lately, in some pretty tragic and challenging ways. Sometimes it's easy to forget what is at the core, what is at the heart. And these people who are seated before you, who give their lives to really improve the lives of the students that we know and love. I want you to welcome Dr. Brown as he comes forward.
That was funny. Well, before we get started, I wanted to thank Mike LaValle for the 100-year participation at Camp Allen. About a couple of weeks ago when I was a college freshman, okay, some of you got it. Some of you got it, yeah. Because some of you are looking at me like that math doesn't work. But a couple of weeks ago, when I was a college freshman at the College of Mount St. Joseph, I was a counselor at Camp Allen. and Camp Allen and the residents or the campers there still rate as my very best summer that I've ever experienced. Those students are special, and they remind you of the sanctity of life and the ability to be thankful for what you have. And I remember names of the campers even today. Camp Allen is a very special place, and thank you, Rotary Club of Cincinnati, for your diligence and participation at Camp Allen. Thank you so much. Well, we want to also thank our superintendent, our new superintendent, Miss Iranetta Wright, for her kind words and being here with you at the Rotary Club. And we want to thank the Rotary Club of Cincinnati for acknowledging these outstanding individuals in the field of education. They are remarkable in their own right. I know some of them personally, and so I'm thankful to be able to stand here before you today to talk about some of them, or talk about each of them, and give you a brief description. All the things that were mentioned in my bio was bought by my 20-year-old son. He gave me a website to purchase those things, and so that's what you read. You just didn't. Okay, all right. I feel like I'm in church. It's a hard crowd. You know, normally the people don't even sit in the front. They sit in the back. All right, okay, all right. Well, thank you again so much. And I want to, first of all, acknowledge Mr. James Boyd. Mr. James Boyd has been identified as the Administrator of the Year. Mr. Boyd and we go back some ways, even when I came back to Cincinnati as the principal of William Howard Taft. Mr. Boyd was always there to respond to any of our facility requests. These are some of the words that were written about Mr. Boyd. Mr. Boyd is a problem solver. He's able to improve the needs of our buildings and to keep them operational and safe for all staff and students. And that is a tremendous statement in the world that we're living in today. Mr. Boyd's personality is always and has always been very professional. He's a man of integrity, a man with a sense of humor as well. He is willing to help in any situation. It's not often where you can pick up a phone and the other person will answer the phone call. I can call Mr. Boyd at 6 o'clock a.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and Mr. Boyd wakes up and answers the phone as if he's been up for 2 hours. And so we are so thankful that Mr. Boyd is able to not only problem solve, but he does it without giving it a second thought. He is an asset to Cincinnati Public Schools. And so let me present to you Mr. James Boyd, Administrator of the Year.
Administrator of the Year, James. Congratulations. We'd like to get a picture if you don't mind. Hold your hand.
Absolutely.
And I'll take one side, you take the other. Dr. Brown.
You don't fall off the stage.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
James, if you'd like to say anything, you're welcome to.
Sure. So I'm honored to be here and receive this award. Thank you for all your support for Cincinnati Public Schools. We really appreciate the opportunity to work with you guys and making our school district better. Been around the district for a long time, 35 years. I also started when I was 12 as well. But just the opportunity to be here and receive this award is great. Thank you very much.
Amen, as we would say. All right. Our next individual that we would like to recognize is Miss Kerri Hopkins. She is receiving, or she is the Community Service Humanitarian of the Year. Ms. Hopkins was hired by our Community Learning Center partner, Community Center Learning Institute, as the Enrichment Coordinator at Saylor Park. Now, if you know anything about Cincinnati, Saylor Park is way out there. Yes, it is a trip to get to Saylor Park Elementary School. Oh, well, when Miss Hopkins was hired, she was given approximately 2 weeks to plan and implement a full-blown after-school program. And this was not to replicate what was there before, but she had to do it from scratch, and she had to do it with minimal funding for about 50 plus students. Miss Hopkins not only did that, but she's expanded the after-school program for the students and parents at Saylor Park. She has done it with grit and creativity and her refusal to never give up. If you ever go to Saylor Park, you have to go into the area where Miss Hopkins attends the after-school program. It is a sacred place. It's a place where all the students are at home. Parents really appreciate Ms. Hopkins. It's a very close-knit community. Ms. Hopkins has done a tremendous job. Parents have the ability to work now knowing that their children are in an after-school program learning. I thought, now if I was at church, someone would have said amen, but I'm going to try it again. Parents now have the opportunity to work while and knowing that their children are learning in an enriched, safe environment. And so with that, the enrichment activities give students experiences that they would not have otherwise experienced. She has organized mutual arts, wordplay, Hamilton County Library, 4 Great Parks, the Gaskins Foundation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We are thankful that we are now recognizing Ms. Kerri Hopkins, Community Service Humanitarian of the Year.
Community Service Humanitarian of the Year.
Thank you.
Just take a picture.
I guess I'll say a little something. I'm not gonna lie, I think I've said this to a couple people. Adults make me very nervous, kids do not. So I am literally up here shaking like a leaf. But it is very, very important to me that these kids have a safe place to be kids, to grow, to learn, to experience, to express. And I strive very hard to make my school and our after-school program that second home, or that first home that some of them need. So this means so much to me. I'm so grateful. I just, deep down within my heart, it's all about the kids, and I just cannot thank you enough. Thank you.
We will now acknowledge and recognize Miss Elissa Veite as the Teacher of the Year. She has worked at our Lighthouse school. The Lighthouse is a school where we have the most vulnerable at-risk youth. These students have medical issues and other issues as well, but she has dedicated her life to the enrichment of the lives of our students that often lose hope of ever graduating from high school. She inspires them to dig deep. She is a phenomenal educator, one in which that students that had previously had attendance issues, when they realize that they have Ms. Veite, they come to school. And that is a testament to her character, a testament to who she is as an educator. There isn't a child in that school, in her classes, that would be able to say anything unkind about Ms. Veite, that she brings out the best in them, has high hopes and high expectations for every child, and that every child has a future in Ms. Veite's classroom. And so we are honored today to be able to recognize her as the Educator of the Year, Ms. Veite.
That's right, don't fall off, right? There you go.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I share the same sentiment in that adults make me nervous as well. It's easier for me to be around my students, but I just want to say thank you. I'm deeply honored to receive this award, and I just feel blessed to, I feel blessed to do the work that I do, and I do it for my kids. I love my students, and I just learn so much from them every day. I feel like I learn as much from them as they do from me, and it's a blessing. So just thank you for your support, and thank you for the award.
And we're also here to acknowledge Miss Erin Kernohan, who is the Innovator of the Year. I've known Miss Kernohan for, I think about 7 years, I believe. I first met her at a Educator of the Year award program in which we were both finalists, and she won. It's true, she won. And ever since then, I've been eyeballing her everywhere she goes. But Ms. Kernohan is a former teacher at Washington Park Elementary School. You have to know something about Cincinnati to know about where Washington Park was. And she enjoyed being at Washington Park because she was able to lend life, hope, and high expectations to the students at Washington Park. In her current role, she's responsible for quality improvement. She's been my thought partner. I would often call her in before I began a project and share with her some of my thoughts, and she would share her thoughts, and by the end of the meeting, the project was so much better because she was in the room. Ms. Kernohan has helped teachers, has helped administrators, building principals, central office administrators with critical thinking to help us to improve our processes so that we may be able to deliver the best services to our students. It is my pleasure to be able to present this award, this certificate, to Miss Erin Kernohan, Innovator of the Year.
Congratulations, Innovator of the Year, Erin Kernohan.
My friend.
Thank you so much for this honor. I love teaching. I love being an educator. I love Cincinnati Public Schools. Thank you, Doc Brown, for dating me back to Washington Park days when there was a school there. It's where I learned to teach. First 5 years were the best years of my educational experience. And from then, CPS couldn't get rid of me. I became a classroom teacher at several schools and then a reading specialist when I was given the opportunity to be a quality improvement manager. But before I could be a quality improvement manager, I had to even learn what in the world was quality improvement. And I was a reading specialist at Midway when my dear friend, Cheryl Brodnix, saw more in me than I could ever see in myself. And I'd like to dedicate this award to her, because tomorrow we will say goodbye to her, my dear friend and mentor, who fought just as she lived, with dignity, humor, vision, and faith. And so I would not be standing here today without her. And I thank you for this opportunity for me to uplift my friend, my mentor, and a visionary that I will work tirelessly to make proud every day of my life. Thank you.
Have anything else you want to say?
I can sit down.
Okay. We're wrapping things up here, Doc Brown.
Well, we so much thank you on behalf of our superintendent. If you notice, not all of the individuals are inside of a classroom. Some work inside of a classroom. Some provide services to the classroom. Others provide support to the facilities. But it takes all of us in order to ensure that every student has an opportunity to be successful, and that we just simply believe that our students are able to go anywhere from Cincinnati Public Schools. Thank you so much, Rotary Club of Cincinnati.
There is one final statement on this introduction of Dr. Brown that I neglected to mention. Dr. Brown also serves as the senior pastor of Pilgrim Missionary Baptist Church located in Cincinnati, Ohio. So if you wanted to know where all of that was coming from.
Amen.
That's the amen.
That's the amen. Assistant Superintendent Brown, thank you for your tremendous presentation, and awardees, thank you for your tremendous commitment to service of our children and our community and to excellence in public service. It was a very inspiring day here at Cincinnati Rotary, and I think they deserve a big round of applause. Jonathan Brown, could you come up here for one more minute? In recognition of your presentation here today, the Rotary Club of Cincinnati would like to make a donation to Cincinnati Public School for you to use as you wish. And this is a pin for our theme this year is Serve to Change Lives, and clearly your awardees and your team serve to change lives. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Meetings today, classification meeting in the Julep Room, Rotary Due Days in Boardroom 4, membership development in Boardroom 3. And remember next week, Kenwood Country Club, not the Hilton, 8 a.m., not noon. Make it a great week. Meeting adjourned.